They came out of that story, and I don't know if this was breaking news or not at the time. Actually, what time was that one put up there? That was put up at that was only up 3 hours ago when I did it. So yeah, okay, so it's pretty new, because at the end of that story that we were just talking about, Jen Tiniti, they were saying now, Tiniti, they went on to this story. Let's play the story first, and we'll go back and have a listen to what the almighty tongue had to say about it.
And Amelia joins us now from Parliament with an update on another political matter. So, Amelia, the National Party's confirmed it will reinstate prescription fees for contraception.
The centrepiece of the budget was a $150 million a year move to scrap the $5 fee on prescriptions and make them free. And the National Party initially said that it would reinstate the fees, but then U-turned and said that it would do carve-outs for gold card holders and low-income New Zealanders with community services cards. And today, the National Party leader, Christopher Luxon, confirmed to Newsup there wouldn't be an additional carve-out for anyone needing contraception prescriptions. And we understand that was one of the key demographics that the government was looking to target with this free prescription package. The Health Minister has already waded in, and she says that contraceptions are not a nice to have, and the Labour Party appears to have been ready and waiting for this moment. They've already launched an attack ad saying that the National Party is out of touch with women.
So that was, to bring context to it, that was what Luxon, or at least the National, was saying, that, you know, these things that are nice to have, criticising Labour over the $5 prescription.
Do you know what's nice to have?
What's that?
Not an enormous amount of teen pregnancy.
Well, this is one of the things.
Do you know what else is not nice? Is nice to have?
What? Lips?
Not women dying from back alley abortions. That's a nice to have.
So this is the thing, yeah. And I was thinking this today. Luxon, remember? Luxon, who has, do you know what? I can't find it on the internet. I wonder if it's been scrubbed. Who compared abortion to murder, tantamount to murder, is what he said. In other words, he doesn't want people getting abortions, right? That's his pro-life stance, his anti-choice stance, whichever way you want to look at it. Yet he also is making it harder for people to get contraception. Now, people might say it's only $5, it's only $5. It's also, and am I being tongue-in-cheek when I say it's a war on women? But it's the kind of thing
that
to
say tongue-in-cheek.
That
Banned.
that men don't need to worry about. Not that they don't have to worry about safe sex and protection and stuff, but men don't get contraception pills. Only women do. So therefore, it says something that only impacts women. And can I say this? Let me put this up. To show the lunacy of this is when people like Cameron Slater look at this decision and go, what the fuck are you doing, Luxon? This is a tweet from Cameron Slater today saying, does this fucking clown want to lose? So if those people can see, forget about Cameron Slater's, I don't know why he's suggesting that. He might be suggesting that because he just wants them to win, or whether it's because women need it. Either way, whether you think it's a bad political move or a bad health move, the world over thinks that this is ludicrous. Another place that National's going to go and die on, a hill they're going to die on, which is going to blow up in their face. Speaking of faces.
Go on, put it up. You know you want to.
Let's actually have a listen to what he said.
Because if it's just wet tongue noises, I'm out.
Because in fairness to him, he didn't overtly say, no, we're not going to do it. He talks about in need, people in need. And he talks about if people in need to get contraceptive, then they're in need. But it just seems to be so amateurish in the game of politics that you're not aware that this is going to be seen and taken as women getting prescription is a nice thing to have, not an essential part of women's health. Because that's how it comes across. Let's have a look to what his tongue had to say.
Said that you would look to extend it for people with gold cards or was it community services card. What about women with contraception?
We don't want any change. Yeah, what I'd say to you very clearly is we're making sure that we can actually support people who desperately need help with their prescription charges. We want a targeted approach. That means high medical use. It means certainly you spend over $100.
Bureaucracy.
It means making sure people who are on community services card and super gold cards, that's where it should be targeted.
What about the high medical use? Women need contraception every month. They have to go and spend $5 every month to get their contraception. Would you look at carving out that for women?
No, I think in terms of high medical use or with respect to community service
every month,
cards,
people need this medication every month.
Sure, but what we're trying to say is we're targeting it really clearly to people who are desperately in need.
But you're not.
If they meet that criteria and they actually need help and support being able to do that, then we should definitely support them doing that through the support, a targeted support to people, say on a community services card or high medical needs, or in other cases around super gold cards.
So as you just said, bureaucracy, Chewy, means testing something, which is what you're talking about. Targeted is means testing. Those who need it get it. Ultimately will cost far more and be far harder to actually make happen than a blanket statement. Now, yes, there is a tipping point somewhere. I suggest this is not the tipping point. There's a tipping point where targeted will work if it's 3% of the population versus 97%. But this isn't. This is half of all women.
This is people with wombs between the ages of, say, 10 and 60.
Yeah.
That's not targeted. That's being a dickhead.
Yeah. let's let it. And I think in this freeze frame, he stopped for a quick pray. He's praying right now, so we'll let him finish his prayer.
Jesus,
and
take the wheel.
Then we'll continue on.
Why is needing contraception to you not a high medical need?
Well, I'm just trying to say, from a prescriptions point of view, we're just taking a very simple policy to say, let's target it to people who most need help.
How? We don't get the how. How are you going to target it? How much is that going to cost? What bureaucracy is that going to need? Is that going to be cheaper to target? Or is all the effort put into that going to end up costing more than just giving it to everyone?
Getting support and actually paying for these bills. We don't want people not to be able to take medicine, be able to get the drugs that they actually desperately need to get hold of.
But do you see that $5 barrier as a barrier to contraception?
If $5 is a barrier, and for low-income people, particularly people who are on community services cards,
do you think it's unfair that women
help? It's a different issue, but with respect to the prescriptions, what I'm saying to you really clearly is that actually if people need assistance,
I'm saying it really clearly. Why aren't you getting it?
That's a targeted approach. Is the right way to go.
There you go. That's where he cuts out. So,
do you know what I heard there?
You go.
I heard Christopher Luxon announcing a new tax.
Expand.
A new tax on women.
Right.
Of $60 per year. Minimum.
Women who are getting the pill, who are getting contraception.
The pill every month, $5 a month. That's your tax for being a gross lady with your womb. I've also seen some of the worst takes on this on Twitter. Would you like to see a man completely miss everything?
Oh, daily.
But in a spectacularly confident way. This man is a big thinker. So, open up your third eye because here it comes. Contraceptives are still available. Contraceptives are still subsidized. If you can't afford a $5 co-payment, then you really can't afford another child.
God.
Yeah, dude. That's the point.
What about if you just don't want another child?
What
or you
if
don't
it's
want
none of
or you
your
don't want a
goddamn
child
business?
So if you're 16 years old, 17 years old, so if you can't afford the $5 and you're 17 years old, then you should be you should be basically saying I want a child.
What are the long-term costs to the state for an unwanted child or a dangerous pregnancy?
Yep.
I'm sick of this surface level penny pinching shit from National. There's massive savings to be made by making this a blanket thing. Economists keep coming back to this. It's like when you add bureaucracy in, which remember, National are against bureaucracy unless they have an opportunity to punch down on half the population. There's massive savings to be made. Just remove the barrier.
JK says he was so close. If you can't afford another child, then you need contraception.
Yeah, absolutely. Why would you take choice away? Why, I mentioned this earlier, didn't I? That this just seems to be National making unforced error after unforced error. If I was Luxon's bloody PR consultant, I'd be sprinting across and slapping the microphone out of his face.
Yeah, well, that's the other
What the
thing.
hell are you doing?
We often talk about the political game, and to basically not shut this down without question immediately by saying, yeah, women are covered, it's an essential health need. But to kind of mealy mouth it and stumble around and kind of go, oh, if they need it and if they can't afford it, we don't want to hold up anyone and we'll target. And it's just, it looks like all the things that are the reasons that people don't trust him. That's what it looks like. He's kind of confirming it. It looks like a car salesman going, the tires are a bit thin, but they'll be okay. They'll be all right for there. And, the oil in there is good, but you want to top it up. And, it's good. It's all good now. We're going to work. It's going to work for you. But, you know what I mean? It's just got that. It feels wrong. It feels like.
I bet Simon O'Connor gave him the highest of high fives after he said it.